So a bit about us. What is Earshot Distro? How to use the Earshot Distro platform, best practices, and getting more out of the stations. Do you want to show the upload? Do you want me to show the uploads? Let me switch from last time or
Show the upload. I'll
show the uploads. Okay. I got the dry stuff. That's fine.
Yeah.
So as mentioned, the team is the two of us. We do have two other staff members, but we're a very small team. Our organization is not for profit. We're not here to generate revenue off this process. We're trying to find the best way possible to give you, as artists, the opportunity to get your music into the hands of radio stations, and the radio stations the opportunity to get easy access to great content from all over the country. So the process itself started a while ago. There's a little bit about the association as of right now. Everybody is independent organizations. They either have a campus community or Indigenous license. They might be online or have AM and FM. Typically, each station has some staff or volunteers who oversee the content. So sometimes it's a little bit more like a commercial radio station. One person decides what gets played on the air all the time. Sometimes it's the individual hosts that get to choose whatever they want from wherever they want. And they've been trained to be on the air, but they're the content selectors. So there's a number of different ways you have to be looking at that. Our system allows you to use both and is set up for both options, which is great. A generalized list of some of the stations that are using it across the country. So we're pretty much everywhere. There's also access to our French stations as well. A few American stations have been using this as well, but it focuses on Canadian. Our upload process does have a pay. We'll get to that in a bit. But it is tied to a Canadian credit card. I don't want to deal with the American stuff. It's huge hassle with the taxes. And we're looking for Canadian stuff anyways. So you don't have to be CanCon compliant. We'll get into that in a bit, but you do have to have that Canadian background. I'm going to bring in the one thing that you should be doing if you're not already. So SOCAN, is anybody unfamiliar with what SOCAN is or does? Is anybody not registered with SOCAN? Good. If you are uploading your content into our systems, our radio stations pay and report to SOCAN. So if you're in our system, you get played on the air. When the station reports, you're going to get paid a couple dollars. So we can see this as sort of a small little circle of money exchanging here and there, and everybody gets it back to them in some form or another. So it's almost a closed loop in its own little sense, which was the idea. Make it as cheap as possible for everybody to be successful, get heard, that kind of stuff. So that's a little bit about who we are. So the distro landscape. So when I talk about distro, I'm talking about how artists and labels are getting into the hands of people. There's some competitors. I'll show you cost. I'll show you how it's tied to charts, factory, and what's to come. So there are alternatives to what we're doing. We're not the solution. We are a solution that continues to get bigger and bigger. There's approximately 50,000 songs in the music database, 5,000 independent artists, something along that, 1,000 to 1,500 record labels, and around 100 radio stations and another 150 independent programmers that are connected with it. But this is not the only solution. There are other options. So when you look at the numbers, yeah.
Yeah, it was really close.
That was pretty close.
Yeah.
That's good. I know what I'm talking about. You can still put, you can still put your CDs in the mail. There's no problem with that. However, stations get tons of CDs in the mail. We have our Radio Laurier crew here in the back. It's pretty standard that you still get stuff in the mail. And what happens? Half the time sits on a desk for a couple months before it gets open.
And that's when it actually gets here, because the mail is not always functional. Sometimes it'll be like, oh, why haven't I heard anything from you? It's like, we have not received this package yet. This was sent from BC and we're in Ontario.
Sometimes they'll be broken. Sometimes it will get open and listened to, and then I didn't need polka music today. Right? But we will have artists and hosts that are looking for polka music, right? So it's a lot easier to do it online. And a lot of the times there's a space issue with CDs. And if the independent programmers are doing their shows remotely, how do you know if you get that content? It's still important, but you have to make decisions on targeting what those areas are. If you are an Nanaimo-based station, I highly recommend you get your CD into the hands of RV and Jesse and it be in the area. CFUB is another good example here on the island, and there's a few more around. Local is worth it. If you're sending it sort of off island out of the province, you have to make sure you're not wasting your money on it. But as you noted, manufacturing, mailing, processing, and then archive, we get somewhere between 10% actually makes it into the long-term archive of a station. So keep that in mind as if you're building it out. You can still send emails to radio stations. Just note that links to something like Bandcamp or SoundCloud or to buy it. Those are not necessarily providing what they call broadcasting rights. Those are for personal consumption. And there's another layer of permissions, just like you as producers have multiple layers of ownership of. Our system solves that solution. It gives everybody automatically that opportunity, and there's a couple things you can add on. So the worst thing that a station will get is, oh, great, we got a new song. They click, and it's like $2.99 to download. The stations don't have money; they can't. But emails are still very important to send. We'll give you some tips on that. DMDS Yangaroo is a commercial system that's used mostly for the commercial broadcasters. Your upload into that system will range anywhere from $350 to $600, and it goes into the network. And I would say about half a dozen of our stations use that system. So think about that value point. Play MPE is an American version that's a little cheaper, but similar response rates and access points. So
I just had a question about for the email listing and stuff. So like, would it be like more, I guess, ideal to just be sending, if you're just sending straight like MP3 files?
We have a single sheet that will give you your best practices. Cool. We'll go through that at the end, but that's a great question. So for us, we have a cost point of $7 a song, $50 an album. That is plus your local tax. An album is 8 to 20 songs. This is the cost to put the stuff into the system. Outside of that, there's nothing else. There's no maintenance fee, membership fee, nothing. It's in the system. It remains in the system. If you want to take it down, you can jump in and take it down. You can ask Eloise to pull it down. Essentially, we as the broadcasters try to make it part of the library for everybody as long as it needs to go. You will also get a coupon code for your first free upload. So that can be as much as an album or compilation. So up to $50. And there's also a little referral code you can log in either from a local station, and you will get 25% off. They will get credited 25% of the process. So you can save some money down the road as well. So if you don't have either of those, we'll be able to share them at the end. I don't know if Radio Laurier had set up your own one or not. Maybe you could check to see if they're in a referral program. And we can, since you're here, we can put your name on the list and make a couple bucks. We'll see if people want to save some of that too. Couple things very quickly. So we run what's called Earshot Dash online. So it is a national charting system. Radio stations will put content into the system. This is a screenshot of it. There's usually 50 songs plus a number of subgenres. It's usually 85-90% CanCon. And a lot of the content that gets uploaded into our system finds its way onto this chart. The benefit of being on the chart is that Factor looks at it as one of those upgrading criterias. If you're in that, and you can go back to them and say, hey, I'm a nationally charting artist, give me more money. And it might be the difference between getting, say, a C-type level grant for $5,000 to make your album and $50,000 to go tour. Like there's a jumping point, and it's one of those, if you hit these numbers, you can move up. Our online charting system is about to change. It's moving from a station submit a chart every week, and we manually compile about 20 of them, to a true national charting system that is fully automated using AI and all that kind of stuff. The challenge we had before is often the charts could be slightly manipulated by the radio stations, which of course is up to them to decide who they want to highlight. But they also have to spend a lot of time and effort doing that work. This will give a true national process and make it easier. And it will capture all of the 250 or so radio stations that have these licenses in Canada. We've been testing it out. It'll be released in a couple of weeks/months. But it will still be applicable for that. Yeah, so I mentioned a bit of that automation. The challenge other times too with SOCAN is that right now it's only being reported twice a year on the stations. When our automated system goes into play, the full system will be available for everybody all the time. That way, if you happen to release, say, like the day after a station started charting and your song was on the top of the charts and got played all over the place for 3 months and then drops off, and then they're charting, the logging system comes in again, you were the biggest song or album of the year, you don't get any recognition because it was during a log period. So hopefully that process will adjust and change again, become 24/7, 365, true of and easier for you to acknowledge that. What we hope to be able to do is integrate that information into your accounts, so you can find out the legitimately of where and when a song was played, and maybe if we're lucky, how many people were listening as well. So there's a goal to be able to do that. We'll show you how you can estimate and guess that right now. It's just not fully integrated.
When the upgrades come to the compiling of the charts, is that just for like the national top 30 or the top charts for national?
Yeah.
Like from the data from the radio stations? Yeah. Okay.
So the individual radio stations will have that decision of whether or not they want to showcase their own charts, they want to change their system, if they want to be a part of and be seen in the national one. But right now, the idea is that all the stations will be all compiled into one chart. You won't see which station you got played on, but if you were played on a few, it's true and legitimate. The stations will then be able to have a decision if they want to continue to do it the same way that they did it, or open into that automated process at the station level.
Okay, so the individual station, if they like opt in, then they're not doing charts anymore.
That's the question that they'll have the opportunity. They can either do their own charts, continue to not do charts, or have charts automatically made for them.
I see.
Yeah. We'll let them make that decision. Individual stations want to decide what they want. They want it. So yeah. Finally, we do have French stations on here. It is fully bilingual. There is a podcasting option. When we do an upload, we'll show you how to do that. Rights for distribution of podcasts are not explicitly given for music. In this case, you can actually say, yes, we are offering that, which is pretty cool. The challenge that you have is, looks like iTunes don't know that you gave us permission. And if they hear music on a podcast, they might strip the podcast. So we found the legal way around it, but the technical solutions haven't caught up to that yet. But I podcasted music for 15 years and never ran into any issues. So it's a new opportunity. We've been talking with Library and Archives Canada about this becoming a national archive, which is pretty cool. One of the projects that we're working on is called the Shared Library. So the radio stations can take their digital library and dump it into this system. If we add 200 radio stations dumping their catalog into the system, sure, there'll be a couple of duplicates and a couple of things to work out, but we could have 500,000 to 1 million songs in the system, all Canadian, sort of the history of. So when you do some uploads, we really do encourage you to put your back catalog in as well, because if someone hears something that's new, they'll look into the rest of it and they'll be able to find it. That shared libraries plan is being hopefully implemented over the next year, but with most cases, the problem is always money. But that would also allow, if you happen to have stuff into other stations, you might already have yours all uploaded into the system, which is great. You wouldn't have to pay for it to do it, but you'd be there. So, a plan over the next couple months. We'd love to bring it into the States and worldwide submissions. That's one of the longer term goals and plans. Getting your content out of Canada always seems to do very, very well internationally. I mean, we just have the best musicians, period. So why not share it with the world? So we want to help to make that happen. And we've even had groups in the States look at our system, go, wow, can we get it on that? Because it's a pretty decent system in many ways. So that's where we're sitting at. For the use of Earshot Distro, we'll go through uploads, reviews, genres, communications, and admin tools. Eloise is going to take on that. So I think you can see it's the screen showing there properly. Yeah. Okay. I will step away. You can have a seat. Easier.
Oh my God, there's so many cables.
Yeah, there's a lot of cables. We did a great job of tying that down. Do not make sure our HR rep does not go back from lunch.
Yes. So, cool. So hopefully we can all see that. So, hopefully some of you already have an account and you should have explored it a little bit. But if you haven't, I am going to step by step how to do an upload. So no worries. So once you create your account, someone keeps stripping in and out of something.
You're fine.
Okay. So this is what your account will look like once you create it. You can create an independent account or a label account. They are both basically the same. The only thing is with the label, you can manage different artists. So it can be simple as you upload music as your own or you upload music with your band. That way you can just have a label account and you can manage both. You can add your band members to the account. That way you can manage it too. So totally up to you. If you have already created an independent account and want to switch to our label, we can do that too. It's just a quick fix on our end.
So are you saying that a label account would be good as a band so that you can manage both like a personal page and your band's page?
Yeah. You
Okay.
can have people, I'll show you how to, like the admin, you can do like invite people to the account. That way they can also, like, if you're not there to make an upload or want to check something out, they can. So
Like your band.
yeah. Or like, yeah, it could be anyone. It's like your distribution company, your band members. So that, it's pretty flexible that way. This is how it looks. As you can see, this will be like the artist. That's what you'll see. You're probably yourself or your band or just your name, if that's the only person you're doing. And then the interactions, which is where you'll see where the stations. Oh, what happened? I'm sign back in. Oh, that's not the
I
one.
find you at Best Buy. Did it?
They did. Which one is it?
Might be very in theory next year. That's what it's in.
We're back. It's fine. Technical difficulties. Okay. For the interactions page, you will see it here. If you want to go more in depth, you can click on the number and it will show you the station name, the interaction type, what song they downloaded, and when they downloaded it. So here you will see that CJLY, they listened to it and they downloaded it. But if you saw a station listen to it and not downloaded it, you can kind of guess it probably passed on it. But if you see that they downloaded it, that most likely means they will play it. Obviously, sometimes they'll download the song, it works into their programming schedule, so it's hard to say when they will play it, but it's most likely already in their system, so they are looking to play that song. So that's what that part looks like. As you will see, like number of songs, you have like a full album, or if you have like EPs or like one song, it will show you there. So that way you're sure how many songs you uploaded, keep track of that. So there's many different ways to upload to the system. There's like the upload songs here. I'm gonna do the way that I usually do it for people, just because I find it a little bit easier, but totally up to you as well. So you can go to the releases tab. And here, the release page is basically a folder of your release. So if you're creating an album, this will be where you have the album art cover. and have all that information. But if you're also creating just a single, so we just did the single art cover as well. So you're gonna go add new release. Here that will be the title. This will be the title of your album or single. And then the artist, which will be yourself, you choose. And then the art cover right there. And then the release type, this obviously what would you pick if it's an album, a single. So if you're doing less than 8 songs, you can still select a single. And if you upload like 5 songs, it'll be $7 times 5. So math wise,
If you click album and then you upload one song, it'll charge you $50 for one song.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
don't do that.
Yes, please. And then here we go with genres. We have plenty of those. And we're always taking suggestions. If you see something is like missing, we work on updates every couple of months. So we work in our developers to add those in. So if you spiritual, we can do gospel, and then from hyper genre. Oh, there's no hyper genres there, but there you go. Like you can go like very niche, or keep it like just like R&B. That's it. You don't have to do the other ones if you don't want, or if you don't find the one that specifically suits what you're uploading. The cleaning content not required is always checked off. That just means it's radio friendly. So please do make sure the song is radio friendly. And if it is not, then uncheck the box for the song and write explicit in the title. So maybe just one song in your album explicit. You can still leave the album as checked off, but then for that specific song, write explicit at the title and then uncheck that off, just so stations know. And we do suggest if you have a radio friendly version of the song to upload that first. Yeah.
And what would you qualify as an explicit song?
So any F-bombs, any slurs.
If the content of the song could be viewed as something that usually a younger individual might have questions around, so sometimes politics, sometimes gender, sexual identity, that element of things. Our stations love playing all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But that's the point, is we want to make sure that it can be found, and suddenly there's not something that gets put on the air on a Thursday at 3 o'clock when many people are listening, driving their kids home from school.
I asked simply because of like I have intaken a lot of stuff from Earshot and people just don't label anything.
Yeah.
They don't know what qualifies as like, is this
Yeah.
explicit, is this not?
Yeah, for sure.
Did like the sonic nature of the song also like
Sure. So
deem it explicit?
So if you scroll down a little bit more, what we've also done on the processes here are you have the ability to choose both character or artist characteristics,
Okay.
and there are tagging options as
Okay.
well.
Cool.
So like there's a mood feeling, like there's an angry mood.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you only want angry songs, you can
Yeah.
find and sort by angry,
Totally.
which is pretty
Yeah.
neat. So
Yeah.
What about copyright stuff like, say like Buck Coke or Black Rock or something like that?
Yeah.
Is there
so
just one copy?
Yeah, so the answer is, and how we offer the uploads are, we expect you to have the copyright of the content that's being uploaded into the system. And it acknowledges that if there is a specific issue, it's not on us, it's not on the radio stations, it's tied to you. So if you do a cover of someone, you could probably get away with uploading it, but if someone complains, it sort of may find its way back to you. Same thing with anything derogatory or whatnot. There's a number of those areas where you hear it in different expression of interest, which again is great that we can have that ability. That's why we suggest you write explicit or give some additional knowledge to that. And that's why we always require or highly recommend that our broadcasters take the time to listen to the whole song, not just throw it on for 30 seconds and go, yeah, this sounds good.
Yeah.
Put it in and then
Yeah, we had a session yesterday, a factor session, which was about music departments and submissions. And one of the big thing was like, I don't mind if it's an explicit version, just tell me it is. Or make sure they are labeled properly. Because someone could submit a clean version or an explicit version. And they were like, oh great, this is a clean version. They played it and immediately the first word was
Yeah.
so make sure that double check that stuff. Because sometimes stations just take your word for it and then just like right play.
I recently uploaded the show and I didn't check that box, and for that reason it didn't show up in the search.
Yeah.
And there was like, so there just was a whole hour profile on the single artist, and one of his songs had an F-bomb in it. So I thought, not really knowing what the explicit rules were, I'm like, well, surely one F-bomb in a whole hour is okay. So I pushed that clean contact button and now it's searchable.
Yeah.
So is there a way to make it searchable even if it's if it is an explicit?
The way that I believe the way that this is set up is that it automatically searches for non-explicit content, but if the host artist turns that off, it will then show up.
I see.
Yeah. So you can let them know, like, it is on the system. If you can't find it, uncheck that and it will show up. Yeah. I mean, even if you email it to stations, they will still be able to open it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So share that link.
Yeah, it's a safety mechanism for the station who is not paying enough attention to it.
So, in other words, if I am uploading explicit content, I would do well to email the stations that I think would have the more interest.
Yeah.
And send them a link, and then that link will still work for them even if they haven't unchecked that.
Yeah. And then same thing happens when we get to it about how to best promote some of your content in the system as an artist. We recommend the same idea, right? It's not just put in the system and leave. There are ways that you can benefit from doing a little bit more outreach opportunities. So we'll go through those.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm almost on with this part. The region, obviously, and city. Some people wanna just, if you're a band and your band's kind of from everywhere, you're good to just have Canada wide. But if you wanna, say like I'm from Nanaimo, BC, that way stations who are looking for artists in that area are able to find you better. So really up to you. As you probably see, a lot of this information is really the time you can put in to fill it out. The more, the better, but at least just like the bare minimum stuff. So station have to go off of it, because for the audio files, they're WAV files, which don't have any metadata attached to them. So when stations download the music, this is the metadata that they're downloading. Because from the station sides, they're able to download the songs in WAV files, MP3 128, MP3 320, just because every station does it differently. But for this side of things, we upload the highest quality and they can download it whatever they wish. The system release date, this will be the date that you want the song to be live in the system. You want stations to have access to it, they will be able to download it on that date. And then the public release date is the date that the song will be out into the world. So let's say your song comes out next week, but you want stations to have it a week early. Bless you. The system release date will be for today. You want the stations to have it out today. You're good with them playing it a week ahead of time. But the public release date isn't a week. So that way, when they see it, they'll be like, oh, I got that today. But I was like, oh, I'm getting it so early. Maybe they'll say, oh, this song comes out in a week, check it out, kind of thing. So just might be mindful of that. Or you can, schedule a song. Maybe you're going to be touring and then you want to just get this set up out of the way so you can select it for like a month ahead of time. Pay for it, upload it, it'll be done. And then on that day at midnight, I think it'll just automatically be on the system. Yeah.
I've actually had an issue with this before in taking music where the public release date is later than the system release date, and it wouldn't let me download it until the public release date.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We done it the other way because sometimes you go upload back catalogs. So obviously when it gets into the system, it's different than when it was originally produced. So that's why we had allowed it the other way, but we'll look into that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Shouldn't do that, but maybe it does.
Good to know. Yeah.
Hasn't happened in a while, but I remember that happening. I really like this track.
Okay, that's interesting. Good to know. Lyrics, composer, distributor, by default, it will just put the name of your account. So you obviously like NCRA Music Industry account. You can leave that as is, change it, edit it, whatever you want. Publisher, label, this is the licenses that Barry was talking about. So you can be playing in the background of station advertisements, the podcast one, and give me license for a compilation, and then you can select that stations have to let you know beforehand, or if you just want to just play it, don't need to know kind of thing, that works. So you can check them all, select them all, unselect them all, totally up to you. Same with the artist characteristics. You know, these are for like maybe they have a queer show and they're looking for queer artists, queer con. So if you identify as that or someone your band identifies that, it'll be worthwhile selecting it. That way, when someone's compiling music for their show, they know exactly what you're doing. Some people sometimes just select all of them just to say, yes, I want everyone to play my music, kind of thing. But it's not that. It's what you identify as, so the station playing it knows exactly you know, categorize you because you already categorize yourself, kind of thing. So, and then this is the maple compliance that we were talking about. I believe we said you have to select two to be considered CanCon, and then for the station side of things, you'll see a little like maple leaf next to your name, so they'll know you're CanCon. So like those, you know, and then click save. Obviously, I didn't fill anything out, but click save, and then it would, if you go back to releases, it'll be here. It'll have your artwork, your name, artist name, and the total amount of songs will be 0 because it's where you're gonna add the songs. So you're gonna go like pencil to edit, and then here you'll be able to drop all the songs in there. They'll load up in here. And whenever they're all loaded up, it'll say save, you're good. Sometimes the songs, when they load into the system, they'll load in like a random order. So if you want to make sure your songs in the right order, this is the page. You can just like drag them up or down, and it'll usually go top to bottom to take part. And we had a discussion with music directors about if they like the songs to be numbered or not. Some say yes, some say I don't need that. So up to you. I recommend them to have number just because whenever they download them, sometimes they're like get muffled, you know, in the files and stuff. So that's the best way to do it. So that way, even if it's out of order here, they'll have the number at the top. So and then just click save, and then basic information is done. Everything that you filled out will be transferred over to the songs. So obviously, if it's just one single, then it'll be the same information. But if you have a lot of songs in the release, you can go to songs and it'll be in songs ability metadata. So you'll see them all listed here. Same thing. Pencil icon to edit, X to delete. Please don't click delete because then you have to do it all over again. It can be a little heartbreaking. So the titles, same thing. It'll be this will be the song title, release attached to it, artist, genre. If a song within the album that you're doing has a different genre, you can change it up here. So this way you have your ISRC code as well, beats per minute. Lyrics is composers related to. Related to means to if you're really releasing stuff by yourself, but you're also in a band, you might want to share it there. I was like, hey, if you like my stuff, I'm also have this band, kind of thing. Original artist, that's is you're doing a cover. And then obviously, as you'll see, the clean content's not here. It's always checked off automatically. And this is what we were talking about, the moods. You can check them all. And then we also have, where are they? The tags. We have like really fun tags, so you can like sit for a while, look what fits the song the best and stuff. Like eerie, elaborate, you know, like eccentric. Like we have a lot of stuff in there. And then same thing, like as you saw, I kept the podcast license checked in, so it did the same for this release. And then you can have the lyrics, and then the Maple compliance will be also the same, whatever you chopped up in the release.
I will note that the Maple system right now is in front of the CRTC.
Yeah.
And potentially being changed, so these might adjust. There's this question about making it easier for Canadian artists to be considered Canadian. The other element is the P in the production of the previous system. Who knows where production is done now that almost all of it can be done in the internet, or if you're flying or traveling, and if your engineer is outside of the country and they, you know, tweak your snare, is that now not Canadian produced? And you don't get counted as Canadian, right?
Point, yeah.
So there's a number of these things that the CTC is addressing as of today. So, and we're speaking in July about those questions. So we got your back to trying to make it easier to be discovered and be considered Canadian and these items. And there's a number of like collaboration things and so on, which are complex. Yeah.
Cool. And after you save all of that, you edit every single song, you take a look, make sure the info is correct. You kind of set and done. You will go to the dashboard and it'll be in red. It will say like a song waiting for payment. You can always also go back to your artist page, which this is where you have. We can take a look at Adam next. You can have your name, alias if you have any, bio, picture, the city again, where you're from. Again, if you're doing your artist and your own, you can have different ones, manage those.
Just remember, if you're just starting, create your artist first, because then when you go to the release, the artist isn't in the track.
No, yeah, it'll make you create your artist. So
But you won't have to redo your artist info every time you add something.
yeah. For the account settings, is this where you add people? I can't remember. I don't think you're at.
I don't have the admin, but
Okay.
yes, if there would be an opportunity down below this, it'll say an email and you can invite
Yeah,
other people.
it will say my account organizational settings. Organizational settings is where I'll say like who's in the account, admin, all that. So that's where you can add people. So there you go. You're just not an admin. That's kind of it. And then to walk to the payment page, I mean it's pretty self-explanatory. If you go there, you're gonna see, oh, I want to select just the one song I have, or maybe you want to select the whole album that you have, select those, select payment, review all that info. This is where you will see if you want to step wrong. So if you only uploaded one song and it's charging you $50, you'll be like, that looks wrong. So you can go and edit that. And if you have issues, you can always email us at support. I'll be happy to help you out, take a look, etc. And then you go continue. And then here's you have the billing information, all of that. We do have a coupon for you guys today for coming in. It's Earshot BC, all lowercase, no exclamation mark. Yeah, I can write it somewhere too, if you have questions.
So you can see on this page, what was going to be 57 was already discounted because there was the referral program that was kicked into place about that.
Yeah.
And then if you were to go ahead and type in that, you would see that amount goes down to zero.
Yeah.
We do use a Stripe processing system, so we don't manage or hold any of your financial information. It's all third party and you have no access to.
I believe if you're signed up with UTP as well, then you can get discounts sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yes, we are running the Maple Grant program right now until the end of January. So check that on the website. There's a list of music associations that we're partnered with that are giving you a discount to access the system. So yeah, take advantage of that where you can. There's a couple here, like Music BC is one of those. We have a couple of them. Yeah, I can't remember all right now. There are a bunch, but yeah, definitely check that, and they'll be in your account portal in the music association part of things. And then the last step, you have uploaded your song. It's live in the system. To share the link with the stations, this is the link right here. You go to release it. Here's your information. This is the album you want to share. Copy, share URL. I will say, make sure your song is live in the system whenever you share people this link, because they'll be like, oh my god, check out my album. It's on Earshot. You give them the link and it'll say not available because your release is for like a week from now. So just wait until the system release date is active, and then copy that link. It'll copy to your clipboard, share that link with the stations. If you try to click on that link, you will say, this weird, it's not taking me anywhere. That's because you have a music account, not a broadcaster account. So for stations, I will assure you the link works. It just won't work for you. But if you want to see how it looks in the back end kind of things, you can always email us. It's like, hey, I uploaded my song. Can you double check if it looks correct? Send us the link. I can double check that very quickly for you guys. And the last stage, 2 email stations. We do have an outreach section. We don't have a direct messaging in the system, but we have a list of emails and preferred contacts, preferred genres that our stations are looking for. So if you click on the outreach tab, it will bring you to this page, which is the list. And what we suggest is that you search the genre that you're sharing. Like if you're sharing pop, you will see the list, shifted. It will only select the stations that say we accept pop. So obviously if you make like maybe metal music and they don't have metal in there, you might be wasting your time, wasting the station's time. So just kind of narrows down that part of things. Or you can search by location as well. You can search like province. We also have one at the bottom. The first one's like music directors, music managers, and then this one is the host. And programmers, don't ever overlook the hosts and programmers. They're the ones sometimes that, do all the work at home and then just come into the station prepared, ready to play their stuff. They work on their shows a lot. They're always looking for new music, new talent, and specifically if they have really niche shows and look at very specific genres. Like I think someone said they're like a lawnmowers episode in their show. They were looking for songs that had lawnmowers on it. So, there will be something for everyone. So just make sure, they're not overlooked for that kind of thing. And this is where you'll draft an email, let them know, and share that link.
Do you want to open up one of them, the little plus beside it?
Yes.
Just so you can see a sense of what it is. Like they'll tell you what they are and what their goals are, and do they track what genres, how they prefer to receive it.
Yeah.
That type of thing as well.
Yeah, and they also often, share like the link to their website, and they have like some stations put together like music submissions page. So what they prefer, like this is what you should have in your subject line and stuff like that. We had a big discussion about this yesterday in the music department, which was why would your ideal music submission look like? And a lot of stations have different answers, which is kind of, the hard thing to combine. Everyone's looking for a little bit different. Every music director, programmer, station manager kind of has different priorities when it comes to adaptive music. So we try to do the best we can to help you guys with that. We do have a report on our website. You can pull it up.
And you should be able to pull it from there.
No, just here. Wow, why is it doing it?
Even on the big experiment, right?
Look, I don't want to be on that page. I'm sorry, I'm not used.
Left that page you were on. You can still go directly to it. That one.
This
The
one?
other, the main website. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
It's a hidden page in our public page.
Yes. So it will be future no, well we have the lengthy version of the report, and then we have the tips and tricks, which is the how to get your music to Canadian radio. So these are the tips that we got from the report, which is basically like the labeling, the formats that they're looking for, the do nots, and etc. So
I'll go through the highlights of that as we finish the rest, and we'll offer to open any questions as you play our game of avoid the cables. So if we're jumping back just to finish off the walkthrough here. So best practices, again, that link was there. Email, here's a great example of the copy URL, right? They literally, hey, I've got my new song out. Could you play it next on Earshot Daily? Here's the links, thanks. Super simple, easy. I go one click, I can listen to the song. Second click, I've downloaded it. We're good to go. What you should include. So again, share direct download links, not buy links. And again, you don't have to always share an Earshot distro link. It's just easiest. But some stations, the challenge with like attaching a link or a song is that then it takes up 8, 10, 12 megs of their space. And they'll want to delete it. Plus it gets lost. Plus if they download it and you don't have metadata on it properly, right? The worst thing that happens is you get an album you love, you download it, the radio station unzips it, looks up its artist dash track 1. You click on it and there's no metadata whatsoever. So you have no clue where it is because maybe they downloaded it a week or a month ago and just get lost. We recommend you put a sounds like if you're trying to reference specific songs or release so that people know what it's kind of like. Any pronunciation for songs or artist names, that can be quite difficult, especially if you have a unique name and identifiers, numbers in it, your Elon Musk's kids or whatever it is. But anyways, we won't. Again, the clean or lyric advisory, and again, that metadata files.
I will say from the discussion yesterday, a lot of other music directors and people who intake music said that they look for keywords as well. So some of the keywords was Canadian. So if you're a Canadian artist, include that in your email. So you just know. So that's not time to browse all the emails. So they'll just look for keywords they're looking for. And also if you're local, include that as well.
So Barry, when you're talking about metadata, you're not referring to the metadata that you put in your MP3 files?
So again, some of this is outside of what we do in the sense of Earshot Distro. What you upload into Earshot Distro is the metadata that gets automatically applied to when they download it through our system. We've solved that problem of having something not show up in the system when the station downloads it. You can always send content outside of Earshot Distro. If you are sending MP3, make sure there is metadata attached with that MP3. You obviously can't upload WAV. There's no metadata that goes with the WAV file, right? So that's why when you built it in our system, it combines it together for us. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
A couple other best practices here. If you want to talk to stations, they love talking to people on the air. Offer the opportunity to come in, do an interview, whether it's in person or online or something like that. The host that goes, man, I just found your new song and you want to talk with me? Sweet. Right. Touring. If you are planning to go visit family or you got a cottage or something that takes you by a station, reach out to the stations. They love to have people come in and do concerts, either noon hour concerts or something of that nature. There's a pretty easy way to do it. Many of these stations have small recording studios or live spaces in the stations now, both for on air, but also pre-record, but also you can just rent the station and record there as opposed to a studio. So there's a number of those spots. Hosting shows, we mentioned earlier, you have Earshot Daily. That's a daily show that you could actually go ahead and host your own show on. We'll give you the information on how to do it. It's picked up on 12 stations. If not, you can go to earshot-daily.ca, email AJ and say, AJ, I got a new release. Can you put it on one of the shows next week? He happily plays you on the 12 stations that have that syndicated show. Other examples and wants, aligners and intros. So, hey, it's me. This is my latest track on the station. Have a listen. Throw a little voiceover liner. They'll add it to it. That type of thing.
Yeah, this was actually something that everyone nodded at the meeting. So they were like, yeah, we love those. Like, those are really cool. And obviously those will be an attachment. And someone was like, what if you see an attachment and you're not likely to click it? But if you say in the subject line that like tagline or whatever, or something like that, like station tagline, they'll be like, okay, good to know. And they'll add it in. So they really like it.
Tag on social media where the station has social media. All of our stations have been blocked by Meta. So there's challenges there, but it's worth it. If you have an opportunity every once in a while, just a great idea, especially if you've got something new, somebody might see that side of things. Don't drop it weekly on their station type thing, but that's good. If you want to give out swag, so t-shirts, stickers, sign posters, stations like that, but they want you to check in with them first, right? A box delivered to their door that somebody has 5 hoodies, a bunch of hats and stuff for a group that they've never heard. There might not be any interest in that, but also there's great opportunities to be like, hey, I got some swag. We're coming in for a show. Could we give you some swag and do some free, stuff to give away? Oh, you need somebody to work the door in the swag booth. Awesome. Come on in. You can take donations and do that for the radio station as well. Right. So there's a number of those sort of collaboration opportunities. The last thing I would recommend is if you don't already have a Google alert set for yourself or your bands, you should do that. What it will do is it will search the internet on a however regular rotation that you make a suggestion for, and it will take all the stuff that it finds of you and drop it back in. So what will end up happening there is you'll find out if an artist if you got played on a radio station, because it will search the internet, and many of the times it's capturing the blogs of the station sites, and they've got track listings. Plus, it's a really great way to see if somebody else mentioned you as well.
Yeah, we have a newsletter that I send out to the music directors, music in general, every Monday about the new uploads. So I got people email me like, oh, because I post that on the Earshot website as well, new releases. So I have people email me, it's like, I saw you highlighted me on the newsletter. They got the Google application for that. So yeah, it's very useful for them.
The last thing that I'll leave here is that little code on the side, 2NXDM10. That's a referral code, not a coupon code. If you haven't signed up, when you sign up, put that in. That'll give you the 25% extra discount. Permanent for your first 10 uploads, then it goes down to 5% afterwards, but for the rest of the time. But 10 uploads is a lot. If you've got 10 albums, awesome. That's great. Let me know, and we'll maybe get you something else if you want to put up 10 albums as well. But it's that's another connection. Or if you are already logged in, we can get you a new one. Or if you have a station that you want to support, often they're sharing their referral codes as well. And we also have a referral code program. So if you know a whole bunch of artists and you want them on the system, you can make a little bit of money yourself too. Does anybody have any questions on the system? Best practices for outreaching to some of the stations? Anything that really kind of makes you wonder?
Yeah, so I'm not really sure what category I should be submitting in because I don't produce music. I would sometimes make a feature interview with an artist that's not really a show, but more like a standalone audio short. Sometimes it's maybe an audio collage.
Okay. That's a good question. I think we're gonna have to think about that. There is here, I'm gonna log out really quickly so you can see what the artist side. This is what the broadcasters see. So if I went to search artist, for example, you'll see that or the search library function, you'll see that it loads the newest songs as they come up.
Yeah.
There's also a show in here as well. So I'm wondering if under songs, do we have?
There's spoken word.
There is spoken word. Is there spiritual? See, but that's songs, right? And I wouldn't really even call that a song.
Uploading in show.
I would think shows is where you're looking at. And then there is one that specifically says spoken word. And if we wanted to, we could go even deeper into it if there were subcategories, because some of these have them, but we don't. So we'll find your thing really quickly. 1 second. Kicking around here somewhere. So there's an example of how the radio stations upload shows, because it also duplicates as a show upload too. That's the right find. We will need to do some adjustments to make sure that better fits you.
But I would say it's spoken word probably.
Spoken word, yeah. So if I was but that's not gonna. There's no category in SOCAN, for example, for that kind of.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
SOCAN there's not, but the CRTC there is.
Okay. So if let's say I do something I'm really proud of, I wouldn't mind getting a bit of a kickback.
Sure. Is it a song?
Well, what if it isn't? What if it's
SOCAN is only for artists who make songs.
So
unless it's like a poetry reading, then, and I don't even know if SOCAN accepts those types of art and cultures.
Okay.
But yeah, good point.
Okay.
Let's do that too.
Oh, I got distracted. I forgot. So.
No bad.
God, yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. So that's just an example of the system and how you kind of see it on the other side, and what the stations end up seeing as well when it comes to like new releases and all of that, right? So you can dig yourself a little bit deeper. Well, that looks familiar. There's the artist upload. There's all the basic info that we've talked about. Then we want to go into the song. We go into the song and see all the very specific details about them, who they've identified themselves as, etc. And they can reach out and contact, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so when a station uploads a program, if the station is doing their logging with Spinatron. Does that appear in Spinatron as just the program, or does it populate all the
visual
tracks
stuff.
in there?
Great. So the question is, so the group called Spinatron is essentially a fingerprint ID, like Shazam. It does not go through it. It goes through the song that it hears. It has nothing to do with the program that was uploaded. The program is not fingerprinted. The song is on the program or fingerprint ID.
Okay,
And so it in that case it doesn't matter. It'll get captured if it's in the Spinatron system. It'll get captured.
okay, because sometimes it shows up as a line where like there is a program,
Mhm.
and it's like 2 out of 10 or whatever it is, and everything else is like track data. So
Yeah, that would be on a Spinatron side of things. I don't have enough of that info, but as I was mentioning at the beginning point, we actually do have a system that's coming in that is automating like charting and logging and all those things for the radio stations, using a competitor's program. It's called Mazuka, but it will do the same thing. It'll use the database and
like
what?
Mazuka instead of Spinatron.
Perfect.
Okay.
And the thing with Mazuka is they will also use our database. Spinatron doesn't have access to our database. So a lot of the content that's uploaded here, Colin Teagan's Summer Sun, may not be available anywhere else, period, because they've only released it here. It would not show up in the Spinatron system, so then it would be an unknown song. Make sense?
No. But thanks for answering.
So where does Spinatron get the data that says this is the song?
So Spinatron and those types of groups buy into these massive database systems that constantly have uploads to it. And they're paying a small fee, or they're actually managing their own database. So they don't capture data and essentially extract the data from our system because they're not a full partner. But Muzuka will, because we want to make sure that if they're the ones charting our systems, they're getting all of that other stuff plus what we have hidden, and then they get access to content that maybe nobody else has.
And so how would you like get into that data?
I'm not totally sure. I'm assuming if you took a look and said, how do I get my content into Shazam? That's most likely the process. And there's probably these hidden cloud databases that Shazam buys into as well. And you can probably simply be like, oh, I'll upload my song, give you the information because they want the info to track it as well.
I was similar to Spotify, Apple Music that they.
Yeah, it could be that when you upload it through Apple Music, it's automatically done as part of your agreement. Read fine print, right? If you want to.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No, it's okay. I was snowballing in my head, but I guess I was just I was curious because like when you go in and like put music, manually into Spinatron as like while you're like I do it just like pre-show sort of thing. I go in. So like that info from Spinatron then is just like standalone with Spinatron.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we're talking for those that are not artists, you host shows, and Spinatron is a fingerprint ID system that the CHLY has decided to use to help with smoothing out the system. We're actually proposing a similar system to be used across our network to help you have to actually do that work. And the idea is, in theory, you should be able to just play your songs and then it'll populate. And if something's wrong, then you can jump back and fix it.
Oh.
But in general, it should just populate as correct because they have all the data and you don't have to do extra work.
Yeah.
And that would be correct. And then you add it to all the other shows throughout the week. And therefore, you now have your week's programming and they can pull out all the songs that were charted or multiple times when they got charted. So. Well, yeah, so we're almost done. So, any other thoughts or questions? Yeah.
What was the discount code earlier? Just to
Earshot BC.
Earshot BC, all lowercase.
All lowercase.
And then there was some referral codes.
Yeah, and then there are referral codes there. You can see behind me if you want it. Earshot PC will give you one free upload regardless of what it is. If you have a new album, try that. If you have a back catalog, you just throw in as many songs as you can up to the 20 and put it up. It really doesn't matter in many of these cases. Your uploads can be done the way you want it. The one that we always get questions of is, if I do a single and I do an album, should I put the single out first? Should I put the album out? Is it if you put the single out, it's going to cost you $7. You're going to be visible for that. I would include uploading the album, pay the extra pennies or two to have it in both spots.
Singles don't chart.
Singles don't often chart by different groups, but also if our automated system does, it does, right? We're trying to update the way those processes work. So it's really a bunch about what you feel comfortable. Some artists do a gap between the public release date and the system date to give that sense of like, yes, there. Other times it's like, oh, great, you got it 2 weeks earlier. It was played as the host. You feel great that you got an exclusive, but as a listener, you say you want to get access to it. You go, oh, I'll throw this up and find it later for something, and it's not available, and then you forget about the song. So there's a number of those things you have to sort of make your own decisions on how you want to do it.
I might recommend people opt for the album rather than the singles, because if programmers play the singles, that's going to get filtered out and not recognized when other people are playing the album, and it'll reduce their charting chances.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was just about to ask about that as well. It makes it seem like you might as well just upload your just whole body of work.
Whole body of work into one
to-
spot.
just to have it.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
these are things that are important to some, not important to others.
Mhm.
There is that flexibility there. It's cheaper, it's easier to do that mass upload. Everything's there in one spot. But if you want to do album singles, you want to do that EP, that traditional element, please go ahead and do it. Just note that. Some positives, some negatives.
Cool.
Thanks everybody for coming.
Yeah,
Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.